Well, hey everybody. Today we're going to go over some foods to stockpile that never expire, and some that expire 20 to 30 years down the road. So, for many of us, they're never going to expire. So, the foods that you see here are some of the foods that we stockpile for our food storage, and we're going to go over some of them, and these will never expire. And these are foods that you want to have in your storage pantry, your long-term food storage. So, as you guys know, I do a lot of freeze-dried food. I don't freeze dry it myself. I buy it from Thrive Life, and I have about 4 years of food storage just secured right there. And I can most of our foods, about 90% of our foods. And then I dehydrate, and we have a garden. But what about the foods that you can purchase in the store, like rice and pasta and salt and seasoning and stuff like that, that you have to add to your foods that you want to have to season your foods because you want flavor in your foods, right? So we're going to go over some of that today that you really want to have to store with your foods. So let's get started. The first long-term food that you want to store, of course, is rice. And you want to store white rice because that is the longest lasting. It doesn't have the oils that brown rice does. I know a lot of us like the brown rice, and you can store that for about 3 to 5 years if you do it in a mason jar. Is probably your best bet. And you want to vacuum seal it, of course. That's what I do. You don't want to store it in a Mylar bag because brown rice has a lot of oils in it and it'll go rancid really quickly. So if you want a long-term rice, 20 to 30 years at least, possibly longer than that, you want a nice white rice. We store jasmine and then regular white rice in our mason jars. We also store them in Mylar bags that we seal with oxygen absorbers. So that is your best bet. You can also put them in 5-gallon buckets with oxygen absorbers. So store as much as you can. The old saying, have beans and rice available to you, is not wrong, you guys. So the next food that we're going to go over, of course, is beans. And I just happen to have some pinto beans here because I'm getting ready to can them. And I like to can beans and have them ready to go. This is what my canned beans look like, some of them. This one's kind of dry. My beans don't normally look like that. But you always want to have some beans in jars. I like to, again, put them in mason jars and vacuum seal them. And when I say vacuum seal them in a mason jar, I like to use this little gadget right here, which is a mason jar sealing unit. And it's an all-in-one, and you just turn it on, and I'll probably do a short showing you. But you just turn it on like that, and it just automatically seals your mason jar. It's a one-handed unit, really, really easy. It does regular regular size, and the wide mouth, very, very handy. I'll do a short showing you guys how to use that. But beans, you want to store as many beans as you can. Beans and rice. This is protein, you guys. And of course you want to store water with all of this. As much water as you can because you need water. We go through a lot of beans. We store as many different kinds of beans as we possibly can. And again, I like to do a 15-bean soup. So I store a lot of lentil beans and the 15-bean soup packets as well. So store whatever your family likes to eat. That is the key to food storage. Store what your family likes to eat. Okay, the next thing that is long-term is salt. We go through a lot of salt because I do a lot of canning. Salt is good not only for flavoring, but also if perhaps you have to catch your own meat, you can always preserve with salt. Salt has been used to preserve meat for a very, very long time, and I suspect in the future it may be used to preserve meat again. It already is for those who are off-grid. A lot of people either can their meat or they salt to preserve. So not only to flavor your food, it's also used to preserve. And this will not go bad. It may get hard with humidity, but it always stays good. The same goes for sugar. I didn't pull out any sugar because we store it in 5-gallon buckets. Sugar is another one that you always want to have on hand. You can store it in a mason jar and vacuum seal that as well, or in Mylar bags in 5-gallon buckets. It will not go bad. It may clump up, but it is very, very easy to unclump, and it will always be good. So the next food that is good for ever, literally, is honey. And the reason that this is in a plastic bag, this is Mayan honey, and we got this in Cancun, in a little teeny town near the pyramids of Koba. So this is really special honey to me. We had a couple bottles of this. This is one of our last ones. And this is not opened. So this is one of the most delicious honeys that we have ever had. So, so good. So this honey right here is about going to be 6 years old. So I'm going to show you. This has crystallized. So honey, after maybe a year or two, will absolutely crystallize. And the way you uncrystallize it is you just warm it up, whether it be to the touch. You can see at the bottom of this, just from pushing down on it, it's liquefied again. So you just want to warm it up just a little bit, and it will uncrystallize and be just as good as new. Don't throw away honey that has crystallized. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's in crystal form and it's just older. That's all. It preserves itself. Honey is good to season, to sweeten foods. It's also good for many healing properties. So never, never throw away honey. Yeah, this is so good. You also want to keep canned meat around. So this is just one of my canned chicken that was freeze-dried, but I have opened it and put it in a mason jar and vacuum sealed it so that it stays nice and hard. It doesn't get any mushy or anything like that. So if you have any freeze-dried food and you don't want to keep it in the containers that it comes in after you open it, kind of like these containers like this, because sometimes when you do that and you live in a humid area like I do near the beach, if you keep it in this, especially like fruits, some vegetables, and some meats, you do want to keep it in a vacuum-packed environment. So I just keep it in my mason jars and vacuum seal it, and it's good as new. If perhaps you do have it in a jar like this, or in a can like this, all you have to do is put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours and it'll crisp right up. So I have meat stored freeze-dried. We do have some commercially canned meat that we like to put in our trailer. Some is in the house like this. And then we have our canned meat. So we have our canned chicken, we have canned turkey, and here's some of our canned ground beef right here. I didn't pull the beef out of the refrigerator just to show you guys what we have. So in addition to that, you want to have some commercially canned vegetables. So I have some potatoes, I have some beets, and then of course you can your own vegetables, and I just grabbed a can of my green beans. And if you home can, you want to have as much as you can. These last forever, you guys. As long as you can correctly, you're very, very careful with what you're doing, these canned items will last indefinitely. They will last. So don't be afraid to can your own food. Another food that lasts indefinitely is pasta. So you get pasta at the grocery store like this. And yes, you can keep it in your pantry like this for a couple years. It'll be perfectly fine. If you want it to last longer than that, you can store it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, or You can put it in mason jars and vacuum seal it, or you can put it in 5-gallon Mylar bags and put it in a 5-gallon bucket as well. And you can do this with any kind of pasta. It will stay indefinitely. Another one that you want to have on hand, and probably the last one that I'm going to talk about, is powdered milk. Powdered milk is good for baking, for drinking. I use it for making bread. It's good for anything. You can use it as a thickener. It's definitely something that you want to have on hand. I get mine from Thrive Life. I will tell you, I have gone through a lot of powdered milk in the last 40 years since my kids were born. And this is one of the better powdered milks, one of the best ones that I have had. I hate milk, you guys. This tastes really good. If you mix it and you put it in the refrigerator and it's cold, I like it. And I hate milk. This is a really, really good milk. Really good milk. Very good tasting. If I will drink it, it's a really good tasting milk, I'll tell you. And I have tried a lot of powdered milks. So there you go. Some of the foods that never expire that you want to stockpile in a shtf situation, or just to get your food storage started. These are the foods you want to have to stockpile. So thanks for watching, you guys. If you have any more foods to add that I haven't gone over, please leave it down in the comment section and let me know what you would add to this. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and more videos to come. See you soon.